Again, this is kind of the mat, is what this looks like right here. So we're going to make something like this. How do I make this? How do I make this? So to do that, I'm going to download some silhouettes of fashion models on dafont.com. So the website is, I'm going to go to the internet. And I'm going to go to dafont.com. Dafont. In fact, you can find all kinds of great fonts on here that you could use in your video projects. What great titles you could make. Maybe you're doing a fashion show video and you want a certain fashion show font, right? You can come over here to the search box and type in fashion right there and hit search, and it'll come up with the fashion. There's not too many, but I was looking at some of them. This one's kind of interesting. It has this little texture in there, but that probably wouldn't work well for the fashion show. This one's kind of thin, but it might be nice for the student name. Of course, we don't want the porn one for the student name. And plus, it's too much texture. You want to do too much. Video texture doesn't work very well in typography, in video, in texture, unless it's, I've done some construction videos, and I've done some letters that have kind of this bumpy looking, dirty look for construction, right? But for fashion, you want it to be probably crisp and clean, right? Clean lines and stuff. So I probably wouldn't use this. I would want something clean. This one might be good for the fashion show. I don't know what this is. Or maybe the scripty one might be nice, right? Like the student handwriting, right? Maybe a student handwriting. But I'm not too worried about that right now. What I want to do is find fashion models. So where can I find shapes and objects in this program? So I'm going to get rid of fashion there. I'm going to go back to the home page by clicking the logo in the upper corner there. If you look over here, you see it says dingbats. See right here, dingbats. So you have all kinds of dingbats. You got you got aliens. See? And each one of these characters is represented by a letter on the keyboard. And of course, we don't want that. What we want is sexy. That's the one. Don't mind the little porn things. Go to the second page. Go to the second page. Page 2. Right here. See where it says page 2? Go to page 2. On page 2. Don't mind those. Don't look at those. Don't look at those. Go down here towards the bottom. This one. These ones I find are pretty interesting. At least some of them are used for fashion. I don't know which ones are they. Oh, this one. This is kind of the one I was using. Or this one, or this one, or this one is kind of cool. Even this one, this one, this one, this one. These ones right here are kind of interesting. So how do you use these in your computer? Well, these are fonts. And so you download them. It downloads them as a zip file. You uncompress it and install the font, and then you can use it just like any other letter on your keyboard. Okay, so these you should learn how to use these fonts. So I've already downloaded those. If you want to try them, you can go and download them too. Here's how you download them.
It's just a particular place you have to put it.
Yeah, I'm going to show you how to install it. So the first thing to keep in mind, though, before you install it is that you can't install fonts while the program's running, because the fonts are loaded into the program when you start the program. So if you have something running, like if you're going to use Photoshop, hey, you got to quit Photoshop first. Quit Photoshop first. And Premiere, I'm not going to use it in Premiere, so it doesn't really matter. So you quit the program, and then to download, of course, you hit download, and then save it on your computer. Save it on your computer. And then once you download it, of course, it downloads to your computer. And here it is right here. It downloads it. It, of course, goes to this is a Macintosh computer, so it goes to the downloads folder. It's a zip file, like I said. It's a zip file right here. So to uncompress it, a zip file is a compressed file. So to uncompress it, you double click on it. It uncompresses it. Then you need to install it. Now, there's different types of fonts. The most common one is called a true type font. So if I open this up, you'll see it says TTF as the extension. So you see it says TTF. That stands for true type font. And if you double click on it, it'll say, do you want to install the font? And what do you think I'm going to say? Install. It goes, installs it. There it is. It's inside there. I don't know why it installed this one. I don't know. That one didn't work very well. The one I did before worked better. Let me see. I've done, let's see, which one? This one. Oh, there it is. No, not that one. This one. This one worked fine. Oh, it even has scissors. Look at that. Scissors and bobbins, and look at this. Even has a button. Actually, that button would work pretty good, probably. You know, the button one right here. So the one I actually, the examples I'm looking at right here are actually this one right here. This is the one I downloaded and installed. So if you download and install this one, that is the one that I downloaded and installed, was this one right here. And you have access to all these shapes right here, all these shapes. So how would I use them? Well, just like I drew on the board, you need to actually make a mat. So you need to make a mat. So once it's installed, you can go and open up. I'm going to use Photoshop here. And then,
By the way, you download into the font directory, but where's that font directory?
the font's in the font book. The program is called Font Book.
Oh,
And that's the program is called Font Book on the Mac to manage your fonts.
I see.
Those of you who use Windows, how you do it on Windows is you have a font folder in your thing. You just drag that TrueType font into your font folder on Windows, and it'll install. Okay, I know some of you are Windows users.
The font book is what it is.
On the Mac, it's called Font Book. It manages your fonts. Okay, so once we have it, the first thing you need to do is you need to make a mat, right? A mat is a black and white kind of image right here. I want to make it the right size though. So we're mixing it with video footage. How do I know what size my video footage is? I don't know. I shot it with my camera. I don't remember what setting my camera was. Well, the video footage is already on my computer. I can open up and analyze it first. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is open up and analyze my video footage. So if I come over here, I have given you a folder, didn't I, called Fashion 2. If you want, again, it's called Fashion Show Part 2. That's it. The folder's called Fashion Show Part 2. If you want to follow along with what I'm doing in class, you need to go and download that off the server. Again, it's called Fashion Show Part 2 right here. This is the footage I'm working with. I've already made these silhouettes for you, but you might want to make your own. I've already made these mats for you, but you might want to make your own. To analyze the video footage to see what size it is, you just open it up in QuickTime. So I'm going to open up one of these videos in QuickTime. And you'll see here's some video footage. You can play it in QuickTime. If you want to find out what dimensions it's in, you go underneath the window, Show Movie Inspector. So if you have any, and I think we've already talked about the history of QuickTime. The history of QuickTime is that it was kind of the first video player on the computer. Came from 1991. Apple invented it. And the program, it's called QuickTime. I open up the video footage and I go under Window, Show Movie Inspector right here. See it right there? And then inside there, it'll show you what's the dimensions of the video. And if we look over here, it'll tell you what compressor it's using. So what's H.264? What is that? H.264 is what? Why is that so common? What uses H.264? YouTube, yes. That's the YouTube format. So that camera actually shoots in the YouTube format. This is from that big camera that we've been using in class, H.264. But look at the dimensions, 3840 by 2160. So knowing that dimension, I can then go make my mat in Photoshop the right size. And I showed you what's the frame rate. It's 60 frames a second. That's pretty fast. We probably didn't need to shoot at that, but we did anyway. So probably should have just shot at 30 frames a second.
If this,
Yeah. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's 3840 by 160. So knowing that information, if you go into Photoshop, here, let's go into Photoshop, and I go underneath File, New. I'm in Photoshop. File, New. I can make one, and of course there's probably a pre-made one underneath, and inside Photoshop you'll notice you have your presets up here. See the presets, and look, there's one for film and video right there. See the film and video preset right there, and you'll notice right here 3840 by 2160. So if I choose this one, it's gonna be in the right size right here, this preset right here, the 4K preset. So if I click on that, it's in the right size. What does it do? Well, it also puts these blue lines on here. What these blue lines represent is what's called the title safe line and the overscan line. The title safe line says, hey, if you're putting titles in this, don't put it too close to the edge. And then this one is called overscan, because today we don't have overscan as much. But back in the old days, when we used to use old television, the actual video footage was bigger than the visible area. And so there was always a cutoff usually around the edge. Today with modern YouTube streaming stuff, it goes all the way to the edge now. But that's why these lines are here. By default, it puts it there. So let's make a mat. To make a mat, again, remember it's a font. Remember it's a font. So to use those shapes that I just showed you how to download from DA Font, to use them, we use the font right here. See the font option right here? The text option. And so if I use the text tool, not this one, don't use this one, don't use these. I'm going to use the horizontal, the top one here, the horizontal type tool. Because I know Gene uses this, so it might be a mask tool. Don't use a mask tool. I'm using the top one, horizontal type tool. And I'm going to click on my screen. Look at my size. I'm at 302 points right here. So I have a really big font up here, 302. And then here's your font right here. I'm going to choose my font, which is my my shapes. These guys right here. Remember my fashion shapes? So I'm going to choose the font of my fashion shapes. I'm going to choose a kind of a big size, and I'm going to click on the screen. And let me just put some shapes in. Of course, they're letters on the keyboard, so I can go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So I put them all on there. So you might want to see which one you like before you try it. And then I don't know what other keyboards, oh, not all of them work. I was wondering what the button one was. Did you see the button earlier? And I'm going to scale them to make them a little bigger. I don't know. Which one you like? Or you want to mix them up and do a couple different ones? Maybe we do a couple different ones, huh? So maybe I will do, I like the last two right here. Kind of like this one with the dress. So I'm going to kind of use my text tool, and I'm going to delete these. I'm going to keep this. No, I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to keep this one. And I'm going to delete this one. And I like these three right here, so I'm going to kind of use all three of these. There we go. How about that? There we go. And I'm going to make them really big. Think of what it is. It's going to have, I'm going to have, oh, I don't want to cut her head off there, or the head off there. So think about it. The video is going to be playing inside here, one video footage, and a different video footage is playing out there. Okay, so again, it's called a matte, and using black and white. It can also take advantage of soft edges. So if you put a feather around there, it'll also take advantage of that, where the video blends together soft along the edge. But I want a hard edge for this example. But all I'm trying to say is, those of you who know Photoshop, you can do soft edges with a feather, right? And it'll also do that as well.
So you use it as a mask.
Yeah. This is basically like a mask in Photoshop, yes. So before we talked about alpha versus lumina. Remember that? Okay, so instead of using the white background, I know mats are black and white generally. Instead of using the white, I'm actually going to delete it and make a transparent background, or alpha. To do that, I'm just going to take the background that is here. See how it has a background in the layers window right here? If you don't see layers, it's under window layers right there. And if I delete this background, let me hit the trash can in the layers window. I'm going to delete this background. You'll see that it has a checkerboard pattern. And there's a reason why I'm doing that, is so that I can animate this mat without having a box. If you leave it white like this, white with black, then you try and move this, the mat will only be in where the white is and it won't work right. So by using the transparency, I can then move it anywhere in my video and it'll work. Because I'll show you the problem with using just black and white. So the actual alpha is a little bit better. So here we got our fashion silhouettes. And I'm going to save that up. Before I save that, I don't want to worry about having font problems. Right? Some of the issues with using fonts and things like that is fonts are inherent to the computer you're on. What if I wanted to take this file and go to a different computer that doesn't have the font on it? What do you think is going to happen? It's not going to work, right? Because the other computer doesn't have the font. So one way to avoid any font problems is to convert these shapes into objects by rasterizing it and converting it into an object instead of fonts. To do that, you do that under the type option right here. Under type, you see there's one that says rasterize. What rasterize means is I convert the object into dots or pixels, right? Because remember, we're working in Photoshop, and everything in Photoshop is made of tiny dots called pixels. So we need to convert the text to pixels. So instead of having to deal with problems with text anymore, I'm going to convert these into objects or into pixels. To do that, I go under type, rasterize type, and boom, it'll turn. Now it's no longer letters. Now it's no longer a font. I can't change it, but it's now an object. And I wouldn't have problems though with fonts.
So you say that the fonts are vector.
Yeah, the font is vector, but I converted it into pixels so that I could not worry about font problems. So let me save this. I'm going to save it. You can save it as a Photoshop file, that's fine, and this is going to be my fashion mat. And I can save that. So we have this. So let me show you how to use this mat. Inside of Premiere. So I'm going to jump from Photoshop. I'm going to hide Photoshop for a moment, and let's go to Premiere. You can see some of the effects right here. I'm going to show you two different ways of doing it. One of them is called a image mat, and here's the image mat right here. And if you look at the image mat, you can see the footage, and this is the wrong size. That's why there's a mistake there. I made it the wrong size the first time here. But as you can see some video footage playing inside here and other video footage playing out there. The image mat doesn't move, because the way the technique you use is the mat stays in a fixed position. But the other way of doing it is something called a track mat, and if we come over here to this example, you'll see I can have the mat actually move across the screen, and you can use all your scaling. I can scale it up real big like that. See how I can scale it? Look at this is how they do the titles. See that? It's like in the movie theater, right? You know, they have the titles starting out like that with the video playing inside the title, right? And then it slowly comes at you, and the video and the movie is revealed between the letters, right? You see that? I know it's small and you can barely see it, but you know you can do. So this thing, track mat's much more powerful because you can move it. So there's two ways I'm going to show you. One's called image mat, where the mat doesn't move; it's just stopped. The other one's called track mat, where the actual mat can move and do things.
That's to remind me of James Bond.
Yeah, just thinking the same thing.
James Bond?
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to actually start a new file. I'm not going to show these. I'm going to start from scratch. So let me close this. And let me start from scratch. I'm going to start from very beginning here. Let me start from very beginning. I'm going to start Premiere from the very beginning. Again, I have some of this footage on the server if you want to try it. I already made you a mat too. It's in there.
What's the you naming him?
Jay Raskoff is the name of the server, and Bill Gates is the password. And then the folder is called, what did I call it? Fashion Show Part 2, right? Fashion Show Part 2. So again, I already made you some silhouettes in there. Use the number 2 if you're going to do it. This number 2 has an alpha channel already attached. So here we go. I'm in Premiere. I'm going to start with a new project. So under File, New Project. And I'm going to give it a name. This is going to be Fashion Mat. And then choose a location, whatever. Hit OK. I'm going to import some of the footage as well as some of the special effects. I think I put some special effects in there too. Let's see. Where is it? Video class. Video. Oh, there's some special effects in there. So maybe choose some of those. Choose some footage. I'm going to just bring everything in. How about that? I'm just going to bring everything in. You can, if it brings in a Photoshop file, it's going to ask you to smush it down or, you know, like this. Do you see that? Whenever you're using a Photoshop file, what it's asking you is, hey, you use multiple layers in this Photoshop file. What do you want to do? Bring in a layer independently, or do you want to squish it all down into one file? See, that's what it's telling you right here. See that?
What form are you bringing into this file?
This is Photoshop.
Oh,
see this question right here?
Bringing the PSD file?
So if you're bringing a PSD file in right
yeah,
here, it's going to say, do you want to bring in and squish
As a
all the
layer.
layers together, or do you want to bring in an individual layer, which you could do an individual layer. So it's your choice.
What's your choice?
I'm going to say merge because I don't care about it right now. Merge, that's fine. And then I did a special one just for you earlier, right? So let me do a special one. There was a special one I gave you.
Jeff,
Yes?
if you merge it, won't the white space show?
If it's on transparent, it will, yeah, well, no, if you merge it, it'll squish the text onto the white if you use the white background, but if you used a alpha background, it'll still be alpha. It won't be there. So, which one was I? Oh, here's my new one. I just made this one, so I'm going to bring that in as well. There. Okay. So here we go. Let's try some. I'm going to bring in one of the fashion footage. We're going to bring in this one. I kind of like this one. So I'm going to drag that one in. This is kind of a zoomed in look of just clothing texture. There we go. Then, do you want to bring in one of these trippy ones here? One of these the Fallen, or this one's kind of got some glowy things going there. I'm gonna bring in this one.
Can you add that new matte one to the server?
I can put the new matte one on the server if you would like. Hold on one second. So yeah, I'll put the new one I just made in there. It should be in the folder Fashion Show Part 2. It's called Fashion Matte. I just added it. The new one I just made. Oh, no, that's not it. Sorry, that's wrong. Hold on. I got to put it in the right folder. Hold on. Nope. Hold on. It's got to be there somewhere. Where am I at? Fashion 2. Fashion 2. Hold on. I got to find it. I'm close. Close. Oh, there it is right there. Here we go. Boom. Okay, it should be in there now. So if you want to try the new one, it should be in the folder again right now. It's called Fashion Show Part 2. Fashion Matte. That's the new one, Fashion Matte. So let's look at that. Again,
Why do you want to import a PSD file instead of a JPEG?
because PSD will keep the transparency, JPEG will not. JPEG can have that transparent alpha channel.
But you can do PNG.
You can do PNG with the alpha channel as well, yes. Okay, so I put this trippy video over top, this one right here. Uh-oh, it's not very big. Look at it. It's kind of small. Let me scale that up a little bit. There we go. So I scaled that up a little bit. And let me, so you get the idea. I put two pieces of video footage over top of each other. See that? I have one particle thing which I scaled up by 600% so it fits the screen. So again, I put two pieces of video. I have one is the fashion thing, and the other one is this kind of blendy effect thing. So I have two pieces of video footage in my timeline over top of each other. So I have two pieces of video footage in the timeline over top of each other. So the first option I'm going to show you was called image mat. Image mat. So how do you do image mat? Well, the image mat is actually applied to the top footage. So notice how I have this trippy video in the top up here. This kind of these effects video on the top. So to do the image mat, it is located underneath the effects. So under effects, we're going to go to video effects. And if you don't know where it's at, you can type it in. I'm doing image mat. So it's called image mat. And of course, it'll show up here, image mat. And so under effects, I'm going to choose, the first example is called image mat. I'm going to take this image mat and I'm going to apply it to the top footage. I'm going to apply it to the top footage right here. Image mat to the top footage, and I'm going to release my mouse. Now it didn't do anything because I haven't told it what mat I want. So again, it's called image mat, and you put it on the video that's on top. Once you do that, though, by putting that on top, you go over to the effects controls. And in the effects controls, you'll notice there is an option for image mat now, because the image mat was applied to that one. So again, I dragged it from here, from the effects window, image mat, I dragged it to the top one. Once it's in the top one, I go to the effects controls, and in the effects controls, you'll notice it says composite using, and I need to choose the mat. I need to choose it. So to choose it, you'll see there's like a little setup window in the corner right here. See it? It's like a little arrow in the corner right here under the effects control. Little arrow right here. If I click on that, it's going to ask me what mat do I want to use. I'm going to choose either one. Maybe I'll choose the black and white one first. Let me choose a black and white one, which is the first one I made, called Track Mat. I'm going to choose the first one I made, called Track Mat. Now this one is on black and white. This one called Track Mat is on black and white. And so I'm going to choose that. It still doesn't show you anything. Why? Well, because it says mat is alpha here. But again, since I'm using black and white, I'm not using alpha. I'm using, what's the term I used to describe for black and white? Like the moon. What's the moon? Lunar, right? But it's not called lunar, it's called luma. Luma. Luma is a video term to describe brightness. The term luma in video is described as brightness. Okay, so in video you have all the way from white to black and all the different shades in between. That's called luma. In video for color, it's called chroma. Chroma for color. So right here, since it's black and white, I'm not using mat. I'm going to use mat as luma. And boom, it shows up. Oh, did I scale it? Is that why it's... Oh, I scaled it, huh? Scale it? Oh, it's still scaled, yeah. Oh, I scaled it because I scaled the video footage up. Did you see that? Oh, did you see that? It scaled... Not only did it scale the thing, but it scaled my mat up because I scaled the image. Did you see that? Oh, there's a problem there. Oh, I didn't. Notice because we scaled the footage up, it scaled the mat up as well. Did you see that? Oh, bummer. Actually, that looks pretty good without even having that. We can just turn off that. Look at this. You can just have the video footage in the silhouette of the black like that.
Are you saying that you also scale up the video?
Hmm?
You scale the video, the second video.
Well, the problem I'm having is, yeah, I scaled this video since it wasn't the right size.
Right.
I scaled it up, but it also scaled up that when you scaled that video up, it scaled up the mat because the mat's applied to the video. So that's why, yeah. So that didn't kind of work right, but that's actually kind of cool, just like that with the silhouette. We could just get rid of this. If I was gonna do the silhouette, I would just get rid of that. And if I wanted just to do the silhouette, I would probably, you could probably just grab this track mat and put it on top like that. So if we wanted to do it a different way, without even doing that, I could just drag that mat and put it on top of my video footage like that. And let's just say we want the video to play inside there. Then we would use something called Lumina Mat. Lumina Mat. So I'm going off a little bit of my discussion here. Again, let's go under Effects. And this one is going to be called Lumina Mat. Lumina. L-U-M-A. Let's try this. Lumina Mat. Oh, that didn't show up. Luma Mat. Let me see. They might have got rid of it. Let's see. And all the mats are located underneath keying. And we want, what did I say? Ultra Mat. Luma Key. A Luma Key, maybe. Let's see if that one works. Hold on. Oh, yeah, there you go. See that? So I put the black and white image over top of the video footage. Then I used something called Luma Key. And I dragged it on top of the mat. And then you can see here. And you can actually switch the mat if you want. Here it is, Lumina Key. And we could probably, what do we want? No, we don't cut off. Well, that's not really going to help us. Well, these options are really going to help us. But that looks pretty cool, maybe. Like that. I thought there was a way to flip it. That's not a lot of very good footage, is it? Footage is no good. Maybe this footage needs sped up is what it needs. This footage is kind of weak. But yeah, it's moving. I don't know. Let me speed it up. If you remember last class, we were speeding things up. Anybody try the speed? You guys, anybody try speed? You guys were supposed to be doing something fast. Here we go. How about this? So that's kind of cool. Maybe something like that. That's kind of cool. So something like that. That's kind of interesting. Again, I was using Lumina Mat, and I applied it to a black and white image over top. Okay, let's try the track mat, though. This is all great and fun, but I'm going to do a different one. So let me delete this. So let's try the one that's probably the most interesting, and that's the track mat where you can actually move the mat. Remember the one with like the title that I was showing you before, right? So to do that, I'm going to put 2 pieces of footage in. So let's put 2 pieces of footage in. So the problem with these is they're too small, but I do like these kind of things falling right here. So I do like this falling daisies here. And let's put it over top of the sewing here. Is there some sewing? No, it's not very good. Let's see. I need to find some footage. I don't know if this is very good here. Let's see. What about this one? I'd like to see some sewing action. Is someone actually somebody sewing here? There we go. I'm going to try this sewing footage right here. Let me choose some of this. There we go. I like this part right here. I want to see the thing going. So.
Only the bottom move.
So I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put this in the timeline. So some sewing footage. Then I'm going to put the falling falling posies here. Pink posies. The falling pink posies. Oh, that's not the right size. Let me scale that up. There we go. So I have falling pink posies and I have a sewing footage. So I have 2 pieces of footage. Now to do the track mat, or the more interesting one, which the one I find more interesting, is I'm going to put in the latest one I just made. What was that one called? The one I just made? Fashion mat. Is that what I called it?
Yeah.
Fashion mat. I think this one. Fashion mat. So I'm going to take the fashion mat and I'm going to put it on top. And I'm going to stretch it out the length. So as you can see what it is right now. See it right now?
Oh, you didn't do anything, you just put the thing on top.
Yeah. So I have 3 things now. I have the mat. I have the pink posies. And then I have the sewing. So again, I have the fashion mat, pink posies, in there. So what I want to do is I want to apply a track mat to the middle one, to the middle footage, and then what that'll do is it will then blend the one above it with the one below it. So here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. You go to the effects window, and the one that we're going to use is called track mat. Track mat. And you take the track mat and you drag it into the middle one. Into the middle one, which is the pink posies, that is. When you're done dragging it to the middle one, I'm going to go to the effects controls. The effects controls. And in the effects controls, you'll notice there's one that says track mat. And it's asking me which channel I'm going to use. So this black and white, or this silhouette of these fashion models is in number 3. See how it says V3? V3 for video 3. So in the middle one here, I'm going to use, where it says mat, under track mat, I'm going to choose video 3. And you'll notice that I have the posies now, and then you can see it's called Mat Alpha. You can see the posies now inside of the fashion silhouette. And then you see, you can also reverse it too. Look, boom, 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 boom. I kind of like it like this with the posies in there. So if we look at it now, we have somebody sewing with posies going down through the fashion there. Okay. So that's kind of cool, but we're not done quite yet. The advantage of using the track mat is we can animate the mat now, right? Animate it. So you can animate the mat right here. You can animate this mat right here by using all the effects controls. You've learned this in the first couple weeks of class, right? When we were doing the still images, right? Where I can make some keyframes for scaling, position. We can even do rotation. And so maybe we give it a little bit of scaling and maybe rotating. Well, no, I don't like rotating. I don't know about rotating. Oh, maybe rotating. I don't like rotating. Maybe scaling. Maybe position. Maybe position. There we go. And then maybe we scale it some more. Maybe scale it down. And then we change the position again. Here it comes. Scale it down. There we go. And now maybe we can rotate it. Maybe we rotate it here around a couple times. And maybe we scale it up a little bit. Scale it back up and position it back to where it needs to be. Rotate back to 0. And go back to normal. Abby normal. Abby normal brain. There we go. So here we go. We got all kinds of craziness now. So again, you have the beauty of the track mat is you have all these effects that you can apply there. So here we go. So they scale up. We got our posies kind of floating around there. Woo! It spins around, spinning around, spinning around. We got to make it go a little faster than that. That's a little slow. Spin around like that. Oh, now it's spinning around backwards. It's going the wrong way now. It's going back to normal. And it's done. Okay, so all those effects are done with just a mat. A mat is very useful. Again, the track mat is probably the most useful, where you put it in there. Where do you apply the track mat? You apply it to the middle one. In this case, at least in this example. So why don't you try that for a moment? So a couple more mats. Let me do another demo here as far as footage wise. Let's try some trippy stuff again. I'm gonna put that in there, and then let's put in some fashion stuff in there. So basically, let me scale this trippy stuff up. Okay, so in this case, I have kind of a effects video over top of some fashion video. Not a lot of footage there, but whatever. The idea is the mat. So another mat you might want to try is the difference mat, kind of like you would have the blending mode, right? But they do have an option for that called difference mat. And oh no, not the difference mat. No, that's not what I want. Color key. No, not that one. Yeah, these are all a little bit different. I'll have to use a different demo for some of these, because this again is alpha adjust. That is basically for something that has an alpha channel, and this doesn't have an alpha channel. Oh, no, it does. It has, oh, this is kind of like opacity, but there's no alpha there. There's definitely no alpha there. There's no mask there. Oh, but the opacity worked. I didn't do anything really. No, we're going to have to do a different example for these. These are all for doing keying, where if you shoot somebody on a plain white background, or you shoot somebody on a plain black background, or you shoot somebody on a green screen, or you shoot somebody on a blue kind of screen, you would use these other keys here to take that out, right? You watch the weather people on TV, right? That weather map is not behind them, it's keyed out. And so I have a whole tutorial for that, and it's right here. It's called, I have a whole tutorial, and I don't think we can get to that tonight because I'm getting a little tired already for some reason. It's spring break. But here we go. So if you look here, you'll see I have some people that are shot on a blue screen. See that? And they're driving, and we shot them on a blue screen. And we can take the blue out, and we can put them in there.
Jeff, just curious, why green is a preferred color for?
What's that?
Why green is a preferred color to?
The green is better for video or for film, because of the way that the green interacts with the film, where blue was usually used for video more. And usually it's the opposite of skin color. That's why they were doing it. So you're looking for something that's kind of opposite of what you're trying to do to try and take that out. And so we'll do a whole example of that. I don't think I can get to that right now. But again, the ones you might want to try is, if you're trying to do some effects, is to do the blending modes right here. See the one that says blending mode right here? So if I click on the one that's on top right here, see this one on top right here? I can then go to the blending mode. And this is like the footage I just showed you earlier, and I was using difference. That's how I was getting those colors. Remember, you saw the blue kind of person sewing with the blue color? So if you want things like this, you know, this is kind of good. I know the fashion video is not very good here. If I had some better fashion footage, maybe. But you can, uh-oh, it went black very quick there. But for the fashion show, this is kind of the look. They like the kind of abstract kind of thing like that. They want to see something like that. And that's what they're kind of looking for. And so I'll show you what it looks like. It's getting dark out there on that. And once you see it on the, see the tracing paper right there? I did an example.
Yeah.
So we'll, in a little bit, let's put it up there and say, you want to do that now? And then we watch, or do you want to watch your video footage? I'm worried that she's tired and she needs to go home. Do you want to show your thing and go home? Sure. Why don't you do that? Because I'm worried about you being tired. Let's look at her footage first, and then I'll show you what it looks like out there with the fashion stuff. You'll see. The
Did
tracing.
you want a time lapse one or did you want a slideshow?
Anything you put up there, I'd love to see it. Okay. Oh, let me stop my video. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, red thing up here. Okay, let's stop it.